Welcome to another episode of Behind the Dreamers. I'm Jennifer Loading, and we are talking to the achievers, the creators, the magic makers, and the dreamers. These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. Well, my guest today says that he learned the value of customer service early in his fitness career and realized its power in helping distinguish you from others. He used that service superpower to grow his business while working for a large fitness brand. And when he opened his first business in 2013, he applied those same principles to expand it. Now, in the industry, almost 10 years later, and having worked with other small business owners, he's created a framework that can apply to any business to help them crush their competition with service. I love it. All right, super excited to get him on today. But before we do that, I need to do a shout out to our sponsors because we love our sponsors. All right, so today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Photography. If you are a creator needing post production, consultation, or promotion, Walt Mills is your guy. Whether short films, YouTube films, photography work, or a new headshot, he can help you find a solution to match your needs. To learn more about Walt and his work, you want to go to photosbywalt.com. We also want to give a shout out to Chris Clow of Upbeat Media Productions. If you are in need of turnkey special event production, Clow is your go-to. To learn more about him and his work, go to upbeatmediapro.com. All right, we got that done. The hardest part of the show. Now we can welcome the guest onto the show. So Hank Ebeling is a sought-after speaker, small business entrepreneur, and the founder and owner of H4 Training Gyms. He's built his career on a passion for customer service and customer experience, and today helps other small business owners transform their customer service. Hank hosts his popular Success Trails podcast, focusing on small business owners and their success. He also recently authored the book, Crushing the Competition with Service. So, Hank, I am super excited to have you on the show today. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jennifer. Excited to share some stories and hopefully bring some value to your listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just realized, I don't know how I missed that you had a podcast. So I'm so super excited to hear that you have a
Yeah,
podcast.
I mean, it's been about 4 years and some change now. So just, I have a passion for fellow small business owners. So it started as just kind of a hobby and just kind of took it from there.
Yeah, how fun. I think that podcasting for most of us starts out kind of as a hobby, and then we end up kind of liking, and it just sort of kind of morphs into other things to sort of brand what we do,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm excited to chat with you. And I think, when I reached out to you to get on the show, I think the thing that caught my attention was your methodology and how you do business and the whole idea of customer service, because my background came from the network marketing space. I always tell people, in the pink bubble, and we were all about customer service, building relationship. And so it's so interesting how we move now. So many people move to this online space, and how we transition that customer service, because it's such a different arena to be in, and when you're online. So I'm excited to chat with you today, but I want to kind of open up this a little bit about how we arrived, how you arrived to where you are now, what led you to this. And so maybe give us a little bit of a backstory on this.
Yeah, so I was an athlete growing up. And when you're an athlete, you train and you train to get better at your sport. And I started training and realizing like I loved it. I loved that you can transform your body, you can get more confident, you can get better. And started thinking, well, if this can happen to me, what would it be like for others? Slowly started helping out some friends, and next thing you know, kind of fell in love with the whole aspect of training and transforming people's bodies and their lives through fitness. And that passion over time just led to, hey, you know what? I want to create my own brand, own gym. That was a dream. Had to take steps along the way, but eventually got there in 2013.
Wow. So you've had this gym. So you've been doing this now for 10 years, like we said.
Yeah, we're coming
Awesome.
up on the Big Ten, October of this year. So excited. I know that's a big mark for business, especially small business. So definitely grateful for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so do you have several gyms, or is it one big main gym?
So we do have two locations. We opened our second
Okay.
location in 2017. So that's coming up on our 6 year anniversary here next month.
Wow, very cool. Very cool. I think that's awesome. So my background's fitness too. I taught aerobics actually for many, many years in my late 20s, early 30s when my kids were little. And then I taught at like the main gyms, like Bally Total Fitness was where I started. And then I worked at 24 Hour for a while and some other cool places. And then when we moved to Dallas, I had to sort of kind of start over at the bottom, not really in my fitness, but they put me in not such prime classes anymore. And I was like, forget this. I don't want to do this anymore. Like I had such great classes and, times changed. So I love that. But like you, fitness has kind of been a part of my life for a really, really long time. And it's such an important part of what I talk about even now. So, and just to your point, I've been at the same gym for 12 years and counting, same facility. I'm not the person that wastes a gym membership ever. So
That's
good
loyalty.
for
That's
you.
what we love, right? Be loyal to a brand if
Right.
they treat you right. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of mine is the convenience, and I think people are such creatures of habit. If they find a place that they feel safe at, and I want to talk about that with you because you're obviously doing something right to be able to stay in business for this long. If you find a place that people feel safe at and it's easy to get to, easy to access, right? And it's not a lot of hassle, then they will stick around. So maybe that's what I want to talk to you about is this customer service. Like what are you doing that is making your brand unique?
I think the biggest thing is putting people first, and that's both internally, so our team, my team, and externally, our client base, putting them first. I think so many businesses, particularly the large businesses, but tend to look at the profits first, people second, which profits are very important. If you don't make money, you won't be in business. But if you put people first, the profits eventually come. So really try to emphasize it's got to be about people. My team, if I don't treat them right, they won't treat our clients right. And obviously, if we don't treat the clients right, then we're going to be out of business. So I think it's just putting people over profits, and those profits will come. That's kind of the mindset I've taken from day one, being at another gym, just a trainer, till now with my own business and our two locations.
Well, and you said something really I think is interesting and yet very powerful is that you said taking care of your people and then your people take care of your customers. And it gives me chills when you talk about that because this is such a mixed up thing for a lot of people. A lot of people like to put the customer first. They think that the customer is always first. But the thing is, if you're not taking care of your own people in house, why would you ever expect them to take care of your client for you?
Yeah.
You know,
Uh,
it's such a mixed. Go
I was
ahead.
going to say, sorry, I would say 100%. I think that's why so many businesses lost people, whether it was during COVID and after, in terms of employees, and still because I think a lot of employees realize I don't want to work for this woman or this guy. They don't treat me right. It's not a good environment. So, no, it's not worth my time and the money I'm making. And a lot of that stemmed from just a bad work culture environment, which is really on the leader, the owner. So, yeah, if that culture is not there, there's no chance they're going to deliver great service to your customers, your clients. I mean, just not a chance at all.
Yeah, that's so true. And so have you always kind of thought this way or was this like from working in the previous fitness industry, in the place that you were at before, did you recognize there were things there that you didn't like and you said, "Hey, I want to be different when I come over here and do this."
Yeah, I think a couple things early on in my career in fitness. I had a manager, she was the boss, and she came from a hospitality background, and she was so strict on different levels of customer service, how you stand. I always talk about her, hand positioning. She would not yell at us, but point out if we didn't have the proper posture right in front of people. And just little things like that stuck with me. And then moved on in my career to work for bigger, large chain gyms and realize, okay, this is very crowded space. I have lots of competition to get clients. How do I stand out? We're all training people. We're all kind of doing similar things. Well, what if I just take care of them that much better than the person next to me? What if I go out of my way to email them, to text them, check in on them? That should distinguish me a little bit more when the other trainers are worried about themselves after that hour or so. Slowly started to realize that can be something that can really separate you, and even more so once you're talking about actually your own business.
Yeah, that's good. And well, and I think that's so interesting because for me, this is like a no brainer too. I get this. Like, but it wasn't something that overnight I picked that up, right? I think that you just start really realizing that it's almost like a paradox in a sense. You know what I mean? It goes contrary to what we think we need to do, right? Because we get hung up on these things. And I always say it's like you have to do the things that are unscalable to get the things that you want to happen, right? In your business. And it doesn't happen. The ROI is not immediate, but over time, you start seeing that all these little things that you do that differentiate you from somebody else, they start to be noticed. And I was just having this exact kind of conversation with the client. Like I was trying to, we were talking about conversion. How do you get the client to go from, okay, they like you, but why do they like you enough to want to go with you on the other side of that journey and spend their money on you? Like, what does it take? It's not necessarily a sales pitch. It's somewhere in between them meeting you and you actually selling, right? Like they have to have a reason in between there. And that's where I think that differentiation comes in of how are you going to stand out from your competitor?
Yeah, and it's all about relationships. I love this saying that, people quit transactions, but they don't quit relationships. So if you and your business are seen as a transaction, boy, when that next shiny object comes and opens up or new products offered, they're not going to think twice about ditching you. But if you've had this strong relationship and they like you and they trust you and they feel like you're serving them, they're going to think twice. Maybe they'll go check out that new shiny object, but it'd be really hard to pull them away from you if you really have that relationship, and so does your team.
Yeah, that's good, Tank. That's good. So, anybody, I want to ask from you since you're such an expert on this customer service. I love it. Like this, like I said, when I read your profile, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good because I think this is such a lost art with a lot of people. And even, here in Dallas, we do a whole lot of networking here. And I get a feel for these kind of people when I go networking. Like they come up to me and they start handing me the business card right away. And I'm totally turned off. Like I even read people's emails and I can just tell by the way they send an email to me if this is a transactional or if this is like what am I going to get out of you, what's the ROI on this immediately. And of course we are in business, we need to be thinking like that. We can't give everything away from free, but we know those people that are transactional and those people that are relational. We can those of us have been in the customer service industry long enough, we can recognize it. So maybe for somebody on the other end right now who's going, okay, I got this business right now, what is one thing I could do that maybe could be something out of the ordinary for my clients? What maybe like what is one tip you could give them?
I don't know if it would be out of the ordinary, but I think one of the easiest things that anyone can do with any business is just simply to be more responsive. I think if you look at a majority of businesses, they have an epic failure in being responsive, whether it's phone, text, email, whatever, right? We kind of get caught up and busy and we don't become as responsive as we can. And that annoys people, right? If you think about yourself, when someone doesn't get back to you
Yeah.
within a reasonable amount of time, it's annoying and it creates a barrier and it creates something that you don't want when it comes to customer experience. So I think if you can just simply become more responsive in whatever field you're in, that in itself will put you head and shoulders above anyone else in your field when it comes to your competition.
Yeah, that's good. That is good. And you're right, because there are places that, like doctor's offices are notorious for this. I say, oh, that drives me crazy. And I always say, that your staff is a reflection of the leader. I believe 100%. You could have a really good leader, doctors. I think that to me, this is night and day for me. If I like a doctor, but I go into their clinic and their staff is awful, I am so turned off. Because to me, how do you be great, but then you don't have a great staff, like the people that work in your environment, because if they're not, it goes back to how are they taking care of their clients, right? So I think that it's all a reflection. Your people are a reflection of the leader itself, and so you're doing something right, and I like that about you. I think it's an awesome thing, and you've been around here for a while and you're teaching other businesses. So tell me what you're doing with these other how you're helping these other business owners now.
Yeah, so it really just started within our gym. We have lots of entrepreneurs, lots of small business owners, and they would see what we were doing from a customer service standpoint. They appreciated the community we had built. They started seeing, well, hey, you got new employees and you're growing. When you lose somebody, seems like it's effortless, the next person that transition, and like, what are you doing? Like, maybe it could help my business. And so started some of those conversations. that led to writing a book over COVID on it to help small business owners, which you touched on in the intro, just a short read, which is kind of a basic framework. And then now, about to launch just an online course, which is specifically designed for small business owners to do just that, create that service culture that the Ritz-Carltons have and those type of businesses. How can you recreate that within your business? So that's kind of become a side passion of mine, is helping other small business owners.
Oh, how fun. That's awesome, Hank. Yeah, and it is true. It's funny because I've networked at the Ritz Carlton before, so I know how they are over there. We have one here, and it's so funny because there's a fairly large networking group that goes there. And I will always say this: that if you get there at 6 o'clock on the networking night, you get free guacamole and tequila shots. They give you these little sample size to get. We all know about it. Everybody wants to be there at that time. But yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations on your book, obviously that we mentioned, but then your upcoming course. I too am building a course, so I know the grind that goes behind that. I'm like, I swear this thing, it's a monster. It's going to be the death of me. I'm like, can I just get done with this course? So I understand the passion and the commitment that goes behind getting that done. So good for you. So I want to ask you, because obviously a lot of the people that listen to our show are also entrepreneurs and creators, people that are doing different things. I feel like we're all sort of creators in our own mind. What do you feel like maybe has been, as an entrepreneur, maybe one of the and it might have been when you first started, when you were kind of getting things up and going, maybe one of the biggest struggles that you had as an entrepreneur.
I mean, I think the battle for all entrepreneurs is just wanting everything in the now. So it's always that you have to have the long game in mind, but it's also hard to think about that, right? Like, I want it now. I want to grow. I want more clients now. I want more equipment. I want this now. And I think sometimes you just have to sit back, realize that it is the long game you got to think about, and it does take time, right? You're not going to just build anything with a quick snap of the fingers. So I just think sometimes there's that battle that a lot of us have, which is okay, just stay the course, have that belief, understand that even if you want it right now, you just got to kind of let it build over time. And so I would say that's probably the one thing.
Yeah, I can probably resonate with you on that one because I'm that way too. It's like that learning curve. Like we just want to know it. Like forget the learning. I just want to know it. I don't want to have to go through all the pain of that, right? But there's no glory in that, right? Like there's no victory in not doing any of that. And it's so funny. Do you follow Simon Sinek, or I'm sure
Yes.
you're familiar with him? Okay, he talks about infinite and finite games. That's what this is making me think of a little bit about the big term, the long term thinker, and how. And he talks a lot about that in business, and it goes back to customer service, right? Like, how are you thinking about your business? Are you looking for the immediate ROI? Are you looking for long term? So, yeah, but I'm with you. So many times it's like even this course I'm talking about, I just want to be done. Like, I love the selling part of it and the building, the researching. No, I don't like any part of it. But I know that in order for us to create what we want to create, we have to put the blood, sweat, and tears into it, right? Like, you got to do the work.
Yeah, if you don't put in the time for any of this, right? And to touch on something you just said briefly, customer service is a long play, and I think that's what really kind of hurts small business owners is they just want that immediate satisfaction that we're talking about, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's not a quick fix. You don't just do a 1 day training or seminar and boom, you got perfect service. It is a long-term play, and as we just said, that can be tough for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, especially if they're in that immediate gratification place, right? We want instant gratification. I think a lot of us are that way, but I think I'm in a mentor group right now, and kind of the thing that he always talks about is long term games with long term players, and so I always kind of keep that in my head. That's how we're playing. It's long term games with long term players, and if you can adopt that mentality, and see, and that's why your business is successful, because you're thinking in terms of that. So you're also looking at your clients. Hey, I want to keep these people long term. What do I need to do to ensure their loyalty? Keep them happy. We want them coming back, right?
Yeah, it's
It's a whole.
it's 100% that it's a loyalty over a sustained period of time, versus just that quick. They're going to be with us and they're out the door like a lot of other gyms.
Yeah, that's good. And gyms, especially, you really got to keep on that. I know another guy here that has a CrossFit gym. It's called the Tiger's Den. I don't know if I told you about it, but it just when you talk, it reminds me of some of his work, because that's kind of how he is. And he has such a great. I follow him. He has such a great a base like of people that really just like that community, and it's so different. I don't know very many gyms here that are like that. Like they're just, you think about, like, I go to LA Fitness, which is, it's great for what I do, been there forever, it's great for, but it's not a community type gym. It's just that it's up the road, it's convenient for me to get to. But you think about these smaller gyms where they have that, and I'm on thinking, like, who are these communities? There's a few that I know of that stand out, like you guys, that really work on that customer loyalty and going over and above and beyond so you can keep your people coming back. And I think that's what makes you guys different, you know? So good on you. Awesome stuff,
Well,
Hank. I
thank
love
you.
it. So I want to ask you kind of a fun question, and this is maybe a little more just kind of thought provoking for you. What do you feel like you've learned on this journey about yourself, this entrepreneur journey?
I would say, one of the biggest thing is just use your resources, which we know, like all of us would be amazed at the networks, whether you own a business, don't own a business, just the people you might know, they might know, just for advice, for you name it, like use your network to grow your business, to help grow yourself. So I would say that's the biggest thing is, okay, like I didn't realize, hey, you got this resource and this person's in your network. And so just to pay attention to who's in your circle and, how you can help them most importantly, but then how they could help you on the flip side.
Yeah. Do you guys have a lot of networking where you're at that y'all can do? Because, like I mentioned earlier, I feel like here there's something every single day of the week, like multiple things every day.
Yeah, there is. In most communities, I think whether you got, the old school chambers or you got a networking event or now Facebook groups, most industries have their own mastermind. So I think there's always enough
Mhm.
to get to. It's just you got to make sure you get to it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you mentioned that because I agree with you on that. I think one of the biggest things, I talk about, I've mentioned this several times to different people and different podcasts and stuff about my journey. Like, I came from the network marketing space, so I always had mentors. I was never really without them. So I understand the power of them, but I sort of kind of took it for granted. I really didn't understand the power of actually, even though I was in a business where we fostered relationships, I was in that company for 22 years, but probably a good 15 of that years, I really didn't understand the whole importance about this networking and building relationship thing. It wasn't until crazy story, went to an event, made this decision that I was going to start reading. I hated to read. I was the type of person that, like, if I couldn't watch it on TV, I'm like, I don't have time for that. Who has time for that? Right. But I made a decision in January of 2018 that I was going to change one thing about myself. Like, I was going to just do one different thing. And I decided to start reading. Well, interestingly enough, after I started reading, like 2 months later, I joined a mastermind. I joined like I don't know, I forgot what it was called, like a networking group here, a local networking group, and actually became a trainer for one of those groups for a while. But that was kind of like the door that opened for me, because after that it was like all of a sudden I started seeing the power of just the networking, building relationships. And I laugh even at some of those first, like, face-to-face appointments. This was obviously before COVID, these face-to-face appointments, because I would sit down and I would immediately go into my sales pitch because I was so passionate, excited about what I had, that I wanted to share it. And I realized that does not work. Like, that did not work, and I don't even, it's funny now because I'm completely different in the way I approach these things. But a lot of people, I think, just really don't know what they know, right? Like, they don't. The power of networking, that like you're saying, I think is so powerful because it teaches you so many skills on how to be relational. But not only that, you get great advice, you learn things, and you come up with great ideas through the power of relationships.
Yeah, and I think don't be afraid too to reach out to others in your industry who aren't direct competition. I know friends, colleagues who have gyms in other states, and there's no reason why we can't share information. We're not competition. So what might work well for them could work just as well for us. And so there's no need not to share.
Yeah, I like that. And that's so true. Stepping out of yeah, because it's funny because I bring coaches on my show all the time and I laugh about this because they do essentially a lot of the same stuff that I do, but I never really look at it as a competition because I always say that whoever is probably resonating with them, they're probably not my client anyways. What they're speaking is speaking to them, and they probably need that person. And I feel like there's enough people out there that we can find, if we're doing our business right, if we're running our business authentically the way we are supposed to be doing it, The people that are going to appeal to us are going to appeal to us. We're going to find those right people, right? And I get that yours is a little bit different than mine, but in the coaching space, you're kind of moving into some of that because you're doing some of that. There are people that when you speak to them, you're speaking their language, right? And there's going to be others that they're just not even going to get it, Hank, right? Like you're talking customer service, they're going to be like, "What's that? What's he talking about? That's a waste of time." You and I know the truth, right? But it goes exactly, it just flies right by, you know? So I think you're doing awesome stuff. All that to say. All right, I want to ask you some fun
Yeah,
questions here.
let's
I've
go
got some
for it.
fun ones I want to ask you. I want to talk about. So tell me about your gym. So we've all been serious now. We've talked about the customer service. Tell me about your gym. What do you guys got going on there?
So we're 100% small group training. So that just means we're not a big boot camp style gym, but we're also not one-on-one. We're that nice kind of in between. So we can give you just enough attention, personalize it, customize it, but also give you that fun of the group dynamic and that energy. So that's what we do. We're all about full body workouts. Your average person has a job, has a life, has a family, has chaos going on. They cannot afford to work out 24/7. So let's give them the most efficient, effective workout in that little window that we have them for. So we try to do just that, give them as much as we can in an hour. And our average client comes in twice a week. So what can we do to benefit them in that short period of time? We use it all: kettlebells, dumbbells, TRX. If you've ever been to a gym and want to play with the sleds, the ropes, we do all those fun items. But we want to help all ages, but particularly for us, it's that 45 to kind of 65 range. Older adults just looking
Yeah,
to live better, move better, feel better, and sustain a quality of life.
I like it. So kind of like a CrossFit, sort of, maybe hit training, kind of.
Hit training, circuit-based training, different than a CrossFit, a
I
little
like it.
more personalized. We call it small group one-on-one personal training, basically.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Cool. Okay. Very cool. I like it. It's kind of good. Mix it up. I recently, it's so funny because I'm one of those people because I told you I taught aerobics for many years. And so then I got this anxiety where I couldn't go to aerobics classes anymore. Cause after you've taught, then you go into other classes, you're like, this is boring. They're too slow. They're too fast. Like, right. You have your own
Judge
style,
City,
right?
right?
Exactly. Like I know it all because I did it, right? Like anyway, so funny. So I haven't stepped in a class for years. So I run, I go lift weights, I go on the lift, I just do different things. But recently I bought this online, it's called Body Group, which is just like dancing. And I'm like, I like it for alternative training because it's just dancing. It's like no fancy footwork, no fancy arms, get a little workout. But the reason I got it was not really because I wanted to use it as a workout. I wanted it to do more of a, hey, if I need a break in the middle of the day and I just want to have some creative thinking time, like just to kind of get the music flowing, body going, get some creative thinking. But yeah, I think variety is good. And I like that you guys are doing the different things because you got to mix the body up a little bit. People get kind of set on, you know, let me put it to you this way. The first day I did a video, I hurt my freaking hip. I was like, dude, I run, I do elliptical, I do weights, and then I hurt my stupid hip dancing. Like, go figure. Muscles you don't use when you don't mix it up, right? Like, different muscles are being used.
Yeah, you got to keep it fun. I mean, most people, unless you're kind of a fitness nerd type like myself, and sounds like you were at some point, yeah, we could do whatever. But most people don't necessarily enjoy exercise. It's not exciting to them. So how can you keep it fresh, keep it exciting so they don't dread it? Because if they dread it, you're not going to do it, and therefore you're not going to get the results. So keep it fresh, keep it fun.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's funny too, because when I work with clients a lot, that's like they come to me and that's kind of one of the things in their circle that they want to work on is health and fitness. And of course, my background is in that I can help them, but I don't usually I tell them, it's funny, we'll have to find creative ways to get them engaged, right? Because they'll come in and they have this metric in their head that I either got to run X number of minutes, I got to sweat, I have to do this. And no, it's like, if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to even stick with it from the get go. You got to find something that you're going to enjoy, and you might as well just go find that and be active in that. And it's going to do the body so much more good in the end.
Yeah, fitness is kind of like business. Fitness is just move, right? Just do something, start moving, get going in a
Yeah.
direction. And same with business, right? Don't overthink it, just take action and figure it out as you go. So very similar.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of parallels in what in how we take care of our body and how our business. I always say, how you show up in one area of your life is how you show up in all the areas of life. So if you're doing your business but not taking care of your health, it's going to catch up with you eventually, and it's going to play out in your business, and it's going to affect you. So we got to take care of all the pieces, all of them. They're all intertwined. So good stuff. All right, so a couple more fun. These are different questions I want to ask you. So okay, one of my favorite fun questions: what is the first concert that you ever attended?
Ooh, you know what? I don't even know if I can remember that, to be honest with you, because actually, it probably was in college. I did a side gig working security. I went to college in Las Vegas at UNLV, right on the strip. Worked lots of big shows. So I don't know if it was
Oh
maybe the
wow.
first, but one of the best was probably Green Day. Uh, was amazing, and actually Van Halen, believe it or not, like that was probably one of their
Interesting. Yeah.
uh, bigger shows in Vegas. And I mean, they're obviously a super
Cool.
famous band,
Yeah.
tremendous live, just the instrumental. So they weren't necessarily the first, but I'd say two of the better
The ones you
ones. Yeah,
remember.
I can remember them.
Yeah. Very cool. I've not seen. I like Van Halen. I always said my very first concert I ever saw was when I was in high school. It was Motley Crue. I think I've seen him like three times since that. I've seen Tommy Lee solo in Houston. So yeah, I have funny concerts.
I'm sure
Been to
they put
Motley
on a
Crue. I've been
show.
to. They do. They are entertaining. They were entertaining then. They still. I don't. They're a lot older now, so it's different. But they still do crazy stuff. I remember it was a few years back I saw them. I've seen. I have such a weird. I have so many different tastes in music, and so I went through all these different concerts for a period of time where I saw Motley Crue, I saw Bret Michaels, I saw Def Leppard, and then I saw Nine Inch Nails, and then I saw Depeche Mode. So like all these just variety of bands that I follow. So, anyways, but I think Green Day would be good, and Van Halen would be a good show, good one to go to. All right, I got two more questions for you.
Shoot.
Favorite book? Do you have a favorite book that helped you maybe instrumental in your business?
Yeah, one that I gift to all new hires and our interns. It's How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie book, classic. Probably
Yep,
read it every year. It's basic principles, forgotten principles. It's a lot of stuff that I talk about customer service wise is in that book. So I'd say that's probably my number one.
that's a good book, by the way. It is. That's a good one. The other one, another one that I really really like is Stephen Covey's The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. That is like one of my ones that and a lot of it, even with what you're talking about, because he talks about the win-win scenario and how the idea is always how do we create this win-win situation and be okay walking away if there isn't, but the goal should be to try to create this win-win and seek to understand before being understood. That's another one that always sticks with me, big one. So that's one of my favorite books. But the one you're talking about, also a very good book. So, all right, last fun question, and then we'll wrap this up. What is in your Amazon cart?
Ooh, the question probably should be what's in my wife's Amazon cart. Then we'd have to spend a whole podcast on that. If you looked at mine, I guess it'd probably usually be books, exercise equipment, and protein bars, shakes. So nothing fancy, probably nothing you wouldn't guess, but not as
Yeah.
exciting as my wife.
That's so fun. I love the Amazon question. Every now and then somebody will be like, I have nothing in the Amazon because if I'm not going to buy it right now, I'm not putting it in there. But, like I go in there and it's so funny because, well, first of all, I've said this several times on shows. My son and I share. So we have a family account, but my son is somehow connected on mine. And so I will go in and I find the most randomest things in my Amazon cart. And I'm like, it's car parts, animal things, hair stuff. I mean, just random things. So I laugh about it, and then I have to go in and I have to click, save for later because I go to put my items in and they're all sitting in the bin. So I always think this one's funny. I always love to hear what people have in theirs. But yes, not surprised on yours. I think you and I probably have similar things in our Amazon cart because except I have pet stuff in there. I do have pet stuff in mine. So it's good stuff. So, Hank, if our audience wants to find your book, maybe catch up on your podcast, learn a little bit more about what you're doing, or maybe they want find out about your program course that's coming out, where do we want to send them?
Yeah, I think the best way it would be just to reach out on social media, whether it's Instagram, find me on Hank Ebeling, Facebook, Hank Ebeling IV. I'm sure in show notes you can throw some links down for the course. for the book you can find on Amazon, Crushing the Competition with Service. But yeah, I'd love to connect on social media, LinkedIn, Hank Ebeling. I'd be happy to answer some questions, help you out, and give you some direction.
Cool. I'm gonna connect with you too, so I can keep up with what you're doing and all your good stuff. So when your course comes out and stuff. So and excited, like I said, that you're doing a podcast and stuff. I'm sure you're doing great things and keep doing your thing. Keep inspiring and it's one of those things. I think customer service is a lost art, especially in this day and age. I mean, I don't know how many of us sit on the phone waiting to get through to someone only to get rerouted 50 times to somebody. I know I'm exaggerating, but it'll be at least 4 times. We get rerouted and then you have to re-explain everything all over again to another person. Like, I just told the fifth person the same story. So keep doing your thing and keep inspiring and all that good stuff. So, do you want to say to, of course, of our audience, if you enjoy our show, please be sure you give us a rating both on iTunes. Check us out on Facebook. Go hit that subscribe button on YouTube so we can keep sharing all these awesome stories of amazing people living the extraordinary. And we want to leave you guys with a final thought. In order to live the extraordinary, you must start, and every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, be kind to one another. We will see you next time.
Thanks again, Jennifer.